Something just changed. Not tomorrow, not next week, not eventually. Right now, in this precise moment. While you're hearing these words, the breakthrough you've been praying for, fighting for, believing for, through all those dark nights and impossible days, it just activated. I know you feel it. That inexplicable shift in the atmosphere around you, that sudden lightness in your chest where heaviness used to sit, that strange knowing that something fundamental just unlocked, even though nothing in your physical circumstances has visibly changed yet. You're not imagining it. You're not desperate or delusional. You're not manufacturing hope to cope with disappointment. What you're sensing is absolutely real. The wait is over. The season has turned. The door has opened. And your breakthrough didn't just begin. It activated with full force. Here's what most people don't understand about breakthroughs. They don't always arrive with fanfare. They don't always announce themselves with obvious external changes. Sometimes the most powerful shifts happen first in the invisible realm, in the frequency you're operating on, in the energy that's now magnetizing different outcomes toward you. And that's exactly what just happened. Your frequency shifted, your timeline realigned, your destiny coordinates locked into place. And now, everything you've been waiting for has clearance to manifest in rapid succession. The reason you're hearing this message at this exact moment isn't coincidence. It's confirmation. Heaven is using these words to validate what your spirit already knows, but your mind might be questioning. Yes, it's real. Yes, it happened. Yes, everything is about to change. You've been in the waiting room for so long that part of you doesn't quite believe you're actually being called in. You've been in preparation for so many months that you almost can't recognize that preparation just completed. You've been holding space for a future that felt distant, and now that future is colliding with your present at a speed that feels almost disorienting. But this is it. This is the moment. This is the activation. And what I'm about to explain to you is why it's happening now, what's actually occurring in the unseen realm, and how to move through the next phase without sabotaging what just began. Because here's the truth. Breakthrough activation is just the beginning. What you do in the immediate aftermath of activation determines whether the breakthrough accelerates or stalls, whether it multiplies or diminishes, whether it transforms your entire reality or becomes just another temporary high that fades back into struggle. The wait is over, chosen one, but the work isn't. The work is just changing form, from waiting to receiving, from enduring to expanding, from surviving to thriving. And you need to know how to navigate this new territory, because it's unfamiliar, and unfamiliar terrain is where most people make mistakes that cost them the very breakthrough they just activated. Listen closely. Stay present, because what comes next is critical. Let me explain what actually happened in the spiritual realm. You were operating under a frequency lock, not as punishment, not as abandonment, but as protection and preparation. Certain blessings, certain opportunities, certain connections couldn't reach you while you were vibrating at a frequency that wasn't ready to sustain them. Think of it like a security system. The lock wasn't keeping you out of your destiny. It was keeping your destiny safe until you developed the capacity to hold it without destroying it, until you matured to the level where receiving wouldn't break you, until you evolved to the frequency where blessing wouldn't corrupt you. And that frequency lock just released. The spiritual security system just recognized your new vibration and granted access. The doors that were sealed are now open. The pathways that were blocked are now clear. The channels that were restricted are now flowing. This is why everything is about to move fast. You're not starting from zero. You've been building momentum behind the lock. You've been accumulating energy, wisdom, strength, and clarity during the waiting season. And now that the lock has released, all of that accumulated force is about to express itself in rapid manifestation. You're going to see things happen in weeks that should take months. You're going to experience shifts in days that normally take years. You're going to witness doors open that you've been knocking on for so long you almost forgot you were still asking. But here's what you need to understand. The frequency lock released because you finally matched the frequency of your destiny. Not because you performed perfectly, not because you earned it through suffering, but because you became it. You transformed so completely during the wait that you're now energetically aligned with what you've been calling in. This means you can't go back to old frequencies. You can't return to old patterns. You can't slip back into old ways of thinking, speaking, or operating. Because if you do, you'll create dissonance between who you've become and what you're receiving. And that dissonance will cause the very things that are trying to manifest to glitch, delay, or distort. The lock released because you changed. Stay changed. Stay on the frequency that unlocked the door. Don't celebrate the breakthrough by reverting to the mentality that created the wait. The frequency lock is gone. Don't reinstall it through old habits dressed up as familiar comfort. Over the next several days and weeks, you're going to notice something remarkable. Doors are opening everywhere you look. Opportunities appearing out of nowhere. Invitations to spaces you couldn't access before. Connections with people who were previously unreachable. Resources showing up at exactly the right moment. This isn't luck. This isn't finally catching a break. This is the breakthrough activation, doing what it's designed to do. Creating pathways where there were walls, generating access where there was restriction, manifesting possibility where there was only impossibility. But here's where it gets tricky. Not every open door is your door. Just because something is suddenly available doesn't mean it's divinely assigned. Just because you can go through a door doesn't mean you should. The breakthrough activation opens the right doors for you. But the enemy, seeing that you're in breakthrough season, will open wrong doors to distract you, to divide your focus, to get you to waste your energy on opportunities that look good but aren't aligned with your actual assignment. So you need discernment. You need to be able to distinguish between divine doors and distraction doors. And here's how you tell the difference. Divine doors bring peace, even when they're challenging. Distraction doors bring excitement, but underlying anxiety. Divine doors align with what you've been receiving in your spirit. Distraction doors appeal to what your ego has been craving. Divine doors might stretch you, but they won't contradict who you've become. Distraction doors might flatter you, but they'll require you to compromise what you've established during the wait. The activation opened doors. Your job is to walk through the right ones and ignore the shiny distractions. Don't say yes to everything just because everything is suddenly saying yes to you. Be selective. Be strategic. Be obedient to the internal guidance that's been sharpened during the waiting season. You've waited too long to waste this breakthrough on mediocre opportunities. You've endured too much to settle for doors that lead to dead ends just because they were open when you were desperate for movement. The right doors are open. They're the ones that feel like coming home, not like reaching for validation. They're the ones that expand your assignment, not just your audience. They're the ones that align with heaven's plan, not just with your impatience. Choose wisely. Move deliberately. And remember, having access to everything doesn't mean accepting everything. Along with the sudden doors, you're going to experience something equally powerful: divine connections, magnetizing toward you. People you need are going to show up exactly when you need them, with exactly what you need, like they were dispatched specifically for this season of your life. These aren't random meetings. These aren't lucky encounters. These are divinely orchestrated intersections. People who carry pieces of your puzzle. People who hold keys to your next level. People who are assigned to your journey for specific purposes. Some will be mentors who can see what you're becoming before it's fully formed. Some will be collaborators who amplify what you're building. Some will be allies who fight beside you in battles you couldn't win alone. Some will be students who remind you why you went through everything you went through. But here's the critical part. These connections require your full presence. They require you to show up as who you actually are, not who you used to pretend to be. They require authenticity, vulnerability, and the willingness to be seen at the level you've now reached. Don't shrink back into old insecurities when these divine connections appear. Don't play small because you're not used to being seen. Don't hide your growth because it might make others uncomfortable. These people are showing up because they can handle who you've become. They're magnetizing toward you because they operate at your new frequency. Also, be aware, not everyone who shows up during breakthrough season is a divine connection. Some people will appear because they sense your shift and want to attach themselves to your momentum. They're not sent to serve your destiny. They're trying to use your breakthrough for their own advancement. Learn to discern. Divine connections add value without demanding ownership. They support without controlling. They celebrate without competing. They contribute without expecting everything in return. Parasitic connections, on the other hand, flatter excessively. They rush intimacy. They make big promises. They position themselves as indispensable quickly, and they drain your energy even as they claim to support you. Protect your energy during this activation period. Not everyone who approaches you belongs in your inner circle. Not everyone who celebrates your breakthrough deserves access to your process. Some people are meant to witness from a distance, not participate up close. The right connections will feel like puzzle pieces clicking into place. The wrong ones will feel like work, like convincing, like you're managing more than you're receiving. Trust your discernment. The breakthrough activated your destiny. Don't let the wrong people deactivate it. One of the most disorienting aspects of breakthrough activation is the speed at which old things start falling away. Relationships that were limping along suddenly end. Jobs that were tolerably uncomfortable become unbearable overnight. Living situations that were fine suddenly feel completely wrong. Routines that served you through the waiting season now feel like they're suffocating you. This isn't loss. This is clearance. The breakthrough can't fully manifest while you're still cluttered with what belongs to the old season. So the activation includes an automatic clearing process, and it doesn't wait for you to feel ready to let go. Things you thought you'd have to painfully release are releasing themselves. People you thought you'd have to distance yourself from are distancing themselves from you. Situations you thought you'd have to fight your way out of are dissolving without conflict. Don't resist this clearing. Don't chase what's leaving. Don't try to resurrect what's dying. Don't mourn what's ending when it's making space for what's beginning. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it feels like instability. I know you might be looking around at your life right now and feeling like everything is simultaneously falling apart and coming together. That's exactly what breakthrough activation looks like. The old structure has to collapse so the new structure has room to build. But here's the important part. Don't fill the empty spaces prematurely. Don't rush to replace what left. Don't grab at anything familiar just because the unfamiliarity is frightening. Let the clearing complete itself. Let the emptiness exist for a moment. Let the space remain open for what's actually meant to fill it. Most people sabotage their breakthrough during the clearing phase. They panic when the old falls away and immediately try to rebuild something that looks like what they just lost. They rush into new relationships that are just old relationships in different packaging. They take new jobs that are the same old problems with new company names. They recreate familiar patterns because the unknown feels too uncertain. Don't do that. Trust the clearing. Honor the emptiness. Resist the urge to fill space just because space makes you anxious. What's coming is so much better than what's leaving, but it can't arrive while you're still clutching the past. The old is falling away rapidly. Let it go. What's on the other side of the letting go is everything you've been waiting for. Here's something nobody warns you about. Breakthrough activation comes with upgraded testing, not because God is cruel or the universe is playing games, but because you're operating at a higher level now, and higher levels require higher capacity. The tests you're about to face, or might already be facing, aren't evidence that the breakthrough isn't real. They're evidence that it is. You're being tested on whether you can maintain your new frequency when circumstances try to pull you back to old reactions. You're being tested on whether you trust the process when the manifestation timeline doesn't match your expectations. You're being tested on whether your faith is real or whether it was just desperation dressed up as belief. These tests will challenge your patience. Things might move slower than you expect in certain areas, even as they accelerate in others. You might see partial manifestation, but not complete manifestation. You might experience preview moments that show you what's coming without giving you full possession yet. Don't interpret delay as denial. Don't mistake testing as rejection. Don't assume that because everything isn't manifesting simultaneously that the breakthrough isn't real. Higher level faith doesn't need everything to be visible to believe it's real. Higher level trust doesn't require constant proof to maintain confidence. Higher level maturity understands that activation and manifestation are two different phases, and sometimes there's a gap between them. You're being tested on whether you can stand in breakthrough consciousness even when breakthrough circumstances aren't fully visible yet. You're being tested on whether you'll maintain your frequency when people around you question whether anything actually changed. You're being tested on whether you'll stay aligned with your truth when the physical evidence is still catching up. Pass this test. Don't revert to doubt just because you're not seeing everything instantly. Don't fall back into old mindsets just because the new reality is still forming. Don't abandon faith at the 1-yard line just because the touchdown isn't visible yet. The breakthrough activated, the manifestation is in process. Your faith in the gap between activation and completion determines how smoothly the rest unfolds. Stay faithful, stay certain, stay aligned. The evidence is coming, but your belief can't be dependent on the evidence arriving first. Once you pass through the initial clearing and testing phase, you're going to enter what I call accelerated manifestation. This is where things start happening so fast you can barely process one blessing before the next one arrives. This is where synchronicities become your new normal. This is where what you think about in the morning manifests by evening. Your thoughts become things faster. Your words create reality quicker. Your intentions materialize with less delay. Not because you've unlocked some secret manifestation hack, but because you're operating at a frequency where there's less resistance between the spiritual and physical realms. This acceleration is exciting, but it's also dangerous if you're not conscious about what you're thinking, speaking, and focusing on. Because the same acceleration that manifests your positive intentions can also manifest your negative ones. The same speed that brings blessings can bring chaos if you're still harboring toxic thought patterns, speaking limiting words, or focusing on fear-based scenarios. You need to become hyper-aware of your internal dialogue. What are you saying about yourself when no one's listening? What scenarios are you playing out in your mind? What beliefs are you still carrying from the waiting season that contradict the breakthrough season you're in? Clean those up, fast, because in accelerated manifestation, you don't have the luxury of sloppy thinking. You can't afford negative spirals. You can't indulge worst-case scenario fantasies. Your thoughts are creating your reality too quickly for you to be careless about what you're thinking. This is also why gratitude becomes critical during breakthrough season. Not just gratitude for what's manifesting, but gratitude for what already manifested that you might be taking for granted. Gratitude keeps your frequency high. It keeps you aligned with the abundance consciousness that breakthrough requires. Accelerated manifestation means accelerated responsibility. You're no longer a victim of circumstances. You're a creator of them. And that means everything you experience is a reflection of everything you're broadcasting. Use this power wisely. Think intentionally. Speak purposefully. Focus deliberately. Because in accelerated manifestation, everything counts. Every thought, every word, every focus point. They're all creating your reality faster than they ever have before. This is the gift and the responsibility of breakthrough. You wanted this. You prayed for this. You waited for this. Now you have it. Use it with wisdom, integrity, and consciousness. Something else shifted with the breakthrough activation. Your voice now carries authority it didn't have before. When you speak, things happen. When you declare, things shift. When you command, things obey. Not because you've become arrogant or controlling, but because you've been authorized from the spiritual realm to operate with power. You're going to notice this in small ways at first. When you speak truth into situations, people respond differently. When you set boundaries, they hold without you having to fight for them. When you make declarations, you feel the weight of them landing in the spiritual atmosphere. This is your breakthrough voice. It's not louder than your old voice. It's clearer. It's not harsher. It's sharper. It's not more aggressive. It's more certain. But with this new authority comes responsibility. You can't speak carelessly anymore. You can't gossip without consequence. You can't speak negativity over yourself or others without that negativity manifesting. Your words are creative forces now. More than ever, use your voice to build, not destroy. Use it to bless, not curse. Use it to declare truth, not perpetuate lies. Use it to empower others, not diminish them. The authority you carry is meant to be used for kingdom purposes, not ego satisfaction. You'll also need to learn when to use your voice and when to remain silent. Authority isn't demonstrated through constant speaking. Sometimes it's demonstrated through strategic silence. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Discern when your voice is needed and when it isn't. Discern what's yours to speak into and what's not your battle. Discern the difference between being bold and being noisy. Your voice carries weight now. Honor that weight. Don't waste it on trivial arguments, defensive explanations, or performative declarations. Save your voice for the moments that matter. And when you do speak, speak with the full consciousness that your words are creating reality. The breakthrough gave you authority. Use it like someone who understands the responsibility that comes with power. And finally, the most important thing you need to understand about this breakthrough activation. This isn't the peak. This is the starting line. What you're experiencing right now, as powerful and significant as it is just the first wave of a series of breakthroughs that are coming your way. You're not graduating to a plateau. You're graduating to a new level of growth. The waiting season prepared you for the breakthrough. The breakthrough is preparing you for the next assignment. The next assignment will prepare you for the next level of influence, and that influence will prepare you for the next dimension of impact. This is the beginning of a momentum that's going to carry you further and faster than you can currently imagine. The breakthrough you're celebrating today will look small compared to what's coming next year. The doors opening now will lead to doors you don't even know exist yet. But you have to approach this with beginner's mind. You can't become complacent just because you broke through. You can't coast on this victory. You can't treat this activation as the finish line and stop doing the work that got you here. The disciplines that sustained you through the wait, keep them. The spiritual practices that kept you grounded during the storm, maintain them. The boundaries that protected your energy during the battle, honor them. The faith that carried you through the dark, strengthen it. Because what's coming next is bigger than what just arrived. And if you want to be ready for it, you need to stay in growth mode. You need to remain teachable, humble, hungry for more. You need to celebrate the breakthrough without becoming attached to it in a way that prevents you from moving toward the next one. This is only the beginning. The best is still ahead. The greatest is still being formed. The most powerful expression of your purpose is still being prepared. And you're going to need everything you learned in the waiting season, everything you're learning in the breakthrough season, to handle what's coming in the next season. Stay ready, stay humble, stay hungry, stay faithful. The wait is over for this breakthrough, but the journey is far from complete. So here you are, chosen one, standing at the threshold of everything you've been believing for. The wait is over. The breakthrough is activated, and your life is about to look radically different from how it's looked for the past however many months or years. This is your moment. Not to finally relax and stop growing, but to finally shift from preparation mode to manifestation mode. To move from enduring to creating. To transition from waiting to walking in the fullness of what's been promised. Everything I've shared with you today isn't just information, it's activation instructions. This is your manual for navigating breakthrough season without sabotaging it. This is your roadmap for maximizing what just unlocked without getting distracted by the noise that always accompanies elevation. The frequency lock released. Stay on the new frequency. Doors are opening. Walk through the right ones. Divine connections are coming. Receive them with discernment. Old things are falling away. Let them go without resistance. Your faith is being tested. Pass the test with maturity. Accelerated manifestation is here. Use it consciously. Your voice carries authority. Speak with wisdom. And this is just the beginning. Stay ready for what's next. You've been prepared for this. You've been trained for this. You've been refined for this. Every battle you fought was preparation for this breakthrough. Every tear you cried was watering the seeds that are about to burst through the soil. Every moment you wanted to quit but didn't was building the endurance you need for this season. You're ready. You're equipped. You're authorized. And the wait is officially over.